Show me how to lie, you're getting better all the time, and turn it all against a one. It's an art that's hard to teach. Another clever word. Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, showing off the Patreon list. If you want to become a Patreon member, the link down below, and then you get your name shown. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Guys, I'm the real Randy Chavez. This is a Bitcoin update video. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I love you guys. Like I said, what I'm doing, I bought more Bitcoin earlier this week. I have about a little more than 2/3 of a Bitcoin. I'm not at 3/4 of a Bitcoin yet. Before the end of 2 months, so probably by June-ish, I will have a few Bitcoin. Just letting you guys know what I'm doing. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. This is just what I'm doing. And something that just reaffirms my belief in this is a article from Bitcoin Magazine saying, in Bullish report, Bloomberg predicts 400,000 Bitcoin price in 2021. In its latest crypto outlook report, Bloomberg outlined the rising Bitcoin adoption tide with some bullish sentiment. Excuse me. On April 6th, Bloomberg released the April edition of its monthly crypto outlook, in which it outlined the bullish narratives around Bitcoin and the burgeoning industry surrounding it. Now, a little preface before I get this going. Some people I talked to at Citibank said, yeah, they're them and a couple people up their chain all in Bitcoin. Does that have anything to do with the fact that Citibank had put out a report earlier this year saying that Bitcoin could be $300,000 by the end of the year? Probably. If you have your own company that you work for putting out something like that, you're probably going to listen. And if you think the people that are writing this are not themselves investing in Bitcoin, like picture Sandy Monroe, right? One of the most famous engineers of our time, still living right now. He orders Teslas and he takes them apart, and he's just marveled at the engineering. Says, well, as soon as I saw this, I bought more Tesla stock. That's just what he did. You think these people that are reviewing and writing these articles saying $300,000 or $400,000 Bitcoin price are not buying it themselves? Think Elon Musk, who put $1.5 billion from his company's balance sheet, his baby, $1.5 billion on his balance sheet in Bitcoin. You think he himself doesn't have Bitcoin in his personal account for his kids, for Elizabeth Grimes, his girlfriend? I'm just saying, most likely, dare I say, that they probably have some form of Bitcoin for themselves. And when I was financially advising my clients before I retired, I literally told all of them, any profits that you make with this loan, put half of those profits in Bitcoin. That's what I would tell my clients that are my friends. Obviously, keep enough to keep the business running, but again, that's what comes in as income, and what goes out as expenses. So keep those expenses, whatever. Do what you have to do. But I told them to put half of their profits. Don't expand. I told them to put it in Bitcoin. That's worked out so far for them. Continuing on, the report was notably bullish, particularly as it came from a reputable legacy firm in the financial and media industry. Here are some of the highlights. Quote, Bitcoin fills the digital reverse asset need in low-yield world. Adoption iterations for Bitcoin have entered a unique state of human nature that supports the crypto's ascent in our view. Money managers reluctant to cross the Rubicon and allocate at least a small portion of funds may be at a risk, as Bitcoin simply does more of the same, advancing in price amid unprecedented low interest rates and elevated equities. Now, again, I haven't said that for a while. The 120-day moving average just was lower than 30,000. It was like 30-ish thousand. As soon as Tesla announced that Bitcoin was on their balance sheet, boom, now that support line is around 40,000. It's not most likely not going to go below that. Again, just reading charts and reading the analytics of it. If you do have right now the barrier is kind of 60 to 62 grand. If it breaks that, some people think it's going to go to 70, 80. Some people say it'll spike to 100. Again, short term, I have no idea where this is going. Long term, I kind of subscribe to Michael Saylor's camp, where he's like, Bitcoin will probably be $1 million a coin at some point. It'll overtake gold, and then it will be 5x of what gold is, and then so on and so forth. And he, I think, might be a little too bullish on Bitcoin, saying that it could go to several million a coin. It's like, well, that's a lot. But, people have done the math saying, like, all you need is 0.01 Bitcoin, and eventually that might become $1 million. And the way they break it down is they say, like, well, there's only 21 million of them that can ever be mined, ever. So take all the millionaires in the world. All the millionaires in the world can't have one Bitcoin. They can't, because there's like 60 million millionaires in the world. And there's 21 million Bitcoin that can only be mined ever. And that being said, a good portion of Bitcoin, let's say 1 million coins, have just been lost to time. So again, it's a finite resource, very, very scarce. The record low yields across the global economic environment have played a major role in Bitcoin adoption over the past year, and more investors are starting to take note. Bloomberg also highlighted the dichotomy between the recent performance of Bitcoin and the performance of gold. Indicators point to rising Bitcoin to gold ratio. In addition to plenty of maturation potential for nascent Bitcoin, crypto has a clear edge that should further pressure its volatility versus gold's. Bitcoin supply is fixed. Mainstream adoption and higher pieces are increasing depth, which suppress volatility and risk measures. And let's not forget that for the most part, the meteoric rise has just been from 0 to 49-year-olds. And I guess Elon Musk counts in there. I think he's just 49. But that's it. Most of the wealth is from people aged 50 to 80. Just throwing that out there. And they haven't really gotten in yet. Boomers haven't gotten in yet. The report repeatedly emphasized the superior properties of Bitcoin and its fit as monetary asset in the digital economy in contrast to gold. While the outlook on gold wasn't bearish for the metal itself, the data and price action has led Bloomberg to conclude that Bitcoin is replacing its monetary predecessor as the preferred non-sovereign reserve asset in investor portfolios. I'm going to say that once more. While the outlook on gold was not bearish for the metal itself, the data and price action has led Bloomberg to conclude that Bitcoin is replacing its monetary predecessor as the preferred non-sovereign reserve asset in investor portfolios. Layman's terms, Bitcoin is replacing gold. People are ditching their gold to buy Bitcoin because that is digital gold. That is the future. That is the future. The future is coming very, very quickly. Most people, like let's say Warren Buffett, let's say older investors that have been in the game 40, 50 years, whatever. Most of the world was the same. Value investing worked for decades, better part of a century. And in the last 20, 30 years, things have gotten very weird. We had like a 20-year period in the 1920s or the 40s where, now cars are everywhere. That's a big thing. And then a lot of other advances have happened slowly over the course of, history. And then internet comes and boom, things are changing so quick. Like people over 40, just can't do certain things that just younger people inherently know how to do. Like you get like a 40-something-year-old, like my friend Nicole is leaving her job and she's 31, 32. And they can't get like a replacement, that's double her age or even 50 or even 40. Like, I don't know how many 50-year-olds are able to use Dropbox or able to use, a bunch of these different things that younger people just know how to do, just inherently, just because that's what they spend their time on. Technology is what they grew up with. A lot of people, even people like myself at 30, like, okay, like, if you fall behind, it's very easy to let technology pass you by. And a lot of other people just don't get it. So, moving on, Bitcoin replacing old guard gold is more sudden than gradual. The adage that money flows to where it's treated best describes what we see as firming underpinnings for the price of Bitcoin. It's not necessarily bearish for gold, which is backing into layers of support below 1,700 an ounce, but most indicators show a shifting global tide that favors the nascent digital currency as a reserve asset. So digital versus analog, Bitcoin's upper hand. Bitcoin's relationship to gold is similar to 2016, when the metal just peaked below 1,400 an ounce. Excuse me. And the crypto launched towards its 2017 peak. A key difference this time is that Bitcoin is rising in value and it's much less speculative, underpinned by great adoption. Meaning that it's not just like, oh, this could go to the moon or it can go to zero. It's a coin flip. We don't know. But now, again, that was 2017. Now it's like, no, we know where this is going. It's going to the moon. Again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I'm just letting you know that over half of my net worth is going into Bitcoin over the next 2 months. It was the world's largest automaker by market cap, Tesla, announcing the diversification of some of its equity wealth into the crypto that allowed Bitcoin to breach $40,000 resistance. The report also highlighted on-chain analytics that shows that the supply of Bitcoin on exchanges is continuing to decrease despite bullish price action, which is the opposite of the trend observed during the 2017 bull cycle when it hit that and then crashed. Hit like 17,000 a coin and then went back to like 3 or 4. A few signs of Bitcoin holders looking to sell. Markets are about buyers versus sellers, and Bitcoin risks lean toward further price appreciation if the amount of crypto readily available to trade is a guide. Our graphic depicts that the percentage of the Bitcoin held on exchanges well below the peak from 2020, which marked a selling extreme. The patterns in this data set from CoinMetrics suggest that Bitcoin price will gain elevated risk of sellers dominating buyers when the amount of crypto held on exchange exceeds the previous high. That's what happened around the price in 2017. Another noteworthy highlight from the report was the expectation from Bloomberg that Bitcoin was on a similar path as the 2013 and 2017 mining subsidy halving bull cycles, pointing to a price of $400,000 for the asset. The logarithmic, seemingly programmatic price action of Bitcoin over the years has investors salivating in the current no-yield economic environment. Bitcoin rhyme with 2013, 2017 peaks about 400,000. The technical outlook for Bitcoin in 2021 remains strongly upward. If past patterns repeat, common companions for strong annual rallies in the firstborn crypto, low volatility, and halvings are aligned favorably. Our graphic depicts Bitcoin on a similar ground as roughly 55x gain in 2013 and 15x in 2017. To reach price extremes akin to those years in 2021, the crypto would approach $400,000 based on the regression since the 2011 high. In September, 180-day volatility on the crypto about matched an all-time low of October 2015. From that month's average price, Bitcoin increased a little over 50x to the peak in 2017. Now, again, just put on here, 2013, 2017, we didn't have Bitcoin ETFs. We still don't in the US, but there's 3 in Canada and 2 in Brazil. They have until 28 October to approve that ETF that has been filed. There's multiple that have been filed, but the most recent one, or the oldest one, the soonest to becoming an actual ETF, they have until 28 October to approve that, and a lot of money will go into it as soon as that's approved. I think that is the end of the article. It is! So, anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. I love you all. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. I love you guys. Bye. Meow, meow, meow.